Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again. Here again with another quick take video, and I wanted to share my thoughts now, 1 week with the Mate 30 Pro. Now this phone has got to be the most polarizing phone of the last month. This phone was released amid a lot of controversy related to Huawei and the Google ban. And when this phone was released, we didn't even know if it was going to get Google Apps. Then within minutes of the announcement, and within 1 hour, I think, we started seeing reports that this little app right here, LZ Play, showed up, and within 5 minutes, you could get Google Apps fully installed on this phone. I was super excited. I'm sure a lot of you guys were. And when I got this phone on Friday, my guys set it up, shout out to Lempo, and we got Google Apps on my Mate 30 Pro. I've been using it now since last Friday, so almost a week, and my thoughts on this phone, let's talk about this first before we go into the controversy. It is the best hardware of 2019, and I've used the Note 10 Plus, the Vivo NEX3 5G, I've used them all, the S10 Plus, even the iPhone 11 Pro Max. It cannot reach the level of hardware sophistication, of tolerances. This thing makes the P30 Pro even look like a little more antiquated. And it's just about the colors and the design of this phone. It is just absolutely gorgeous. There's something about the waterfall drop on this phone that is so much more pronounced. It almost makes you feel like you're holding a display in your hands. And what that also does is reduce the kind of green effect that happens on the edges. It is far less pronounced than, let's say, on the Vivo NEX3 5G. The other things I've loved about this phone is just the really fast Face ID. It's almost instantaneous. Let me show you there, and there, it's in. And let's see if we can do that again. There, it is in. So this thing is just great, and I know that you guys don't like the notch, but for me, if it's enabling these kind of features, I don't mind it as much. And obviously not having a pop-up selfie camera means that this is completely ingress protected for waterproofing. So that means this is a fully waterproof phone, similar to the iPhone 11 Pro Max. The other amazing thing about this device has been the battery life, and it is working really great so far. I have gotten so far a screen on time kind of average of around 8+ hours of screen on time. I think it can go even further, but if you go watch Mr. Who's the Boss's battery drain test, this came second to the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which in my opinion has the best battery life of any phone I've tested this year, minus the Asus ROG Phone 2, shout out to that phone. But this Mate 30 Pro is up there with the best battery lives of any smartphones of 2019. Add to that the fact that this device is just, in terms of usage, EMUI has really come a long way, and this is the first version of EMUI that I can say I could use as my daily driver without issue. There's just something about how they've tweaked the software this time on this phone that makes me like it. It almost has more of a stock Android feel to it. Even the settings look a lot more stock Android-like, and the overall experience of using this with that Kirin 990 aboard, 8 gigs of RAM, this thing flies. This thing is one of the fastest phones that I've ever tested. Checking out the Geekbench scores, as you can see. This is Geekbench 5, by the way, with a score of 765 single and 2881 multi. It is one of the fastest Android phones being tested on Geekbench 5 right now. And then to wrap up the positives, we gotta talk quickly about these cameras. These cameras are just incredible. From the 40 megapixel wide angle to the 40 megapixel main shooter, and having the portrait mode, having that super slow-mo, which for me is doing a great job. And check out my sample on Twitter if you haven't already. This phone, it is a step above the P30 Pro. That is my feeling. Yes, it doesn't have the periscope 50 times zoom that phone did, but what it does have is just far better photo and video taking capabilities. I really think, for me at least, from a videographer's perspective, that is a main positive. So there's so many reasons to love the cameras on this phone. Obviously you have the night mode, which is just spectacular. You have great portrait mode shots that can be done with this phone as well. Add to that the improved ultra wide angle of 40 megapixels, and you're getting more detail on ultra wide shots than I get on any other smartphone. So the cameras on this thing are amazing. But now let's talk about the major con and probably what will be the death knell for this phone, and that is the Google Apps situation. As of yesterday, this LZ Play app that I used on Friday to get Google Apps on this phone has now been shut down, and it is now what is being kind of touted from all the US journalists as a major security threat to your safety, to your livelihood. Oh my God, it's the worst thing in the world. But now let me break it down. The reality is this LZ Play app has been here for quite a while, and if you remember my Honor 5 Pro video I did, this was the same app I was trying to use to download Google Apps on that phone. And what it basically does is give itself major permissions to use as an administrator to be able to download those apps. Now, the way that it's being spun is that essentially this phone is kind of opening a backdoor to the deepest recesses of the use of the kind of the permissions on this phone, which allows it to download all those Google apps, but then at the same time allows it to kind of basically extract or do whatever it wants to do with your phone as an administrator, almost like a company would as an administrator to a kind of a work phone in the same way. And I honestly think if that's the case, that's really terrible. But at the same time, there has also been talk that maybe this could have been something that Huawei was aware of, that Huawei actually was kind of working with LZ Play, or at least allowed LZ Play to do this, to be able to kind of find a way to get Google Apps on their phones. And now that the cat is out of the bag, so to speak, they have come back to Android Authority. They obviously mentioned that they have nothing to do with this app, and now the app just mysteriously has vanished, is no longer available, and so no Google Apps moving forward on this phone. That is a major deal breaker for pretty much the entire audience that was interested in this phone. Even you diehard fans out there who would have loved to test out the amazing cameras and this as a daily driver are probably now second guessing this Mate 30 Pro. I have one of the few units here that does have Google Apps that was able to get it in time. As you can see here, my Google Apps work perfectly, with the exception of Google Pay, which didn't allow it to actually work, and I tried to set it up yesterday and that failed. But everything else still works. But look at the safety net test. If we run it now, you can see it just failed. So that is also worrying. So for anyone who's worried about security issues and worried about getting this phone, paying that much for it, I'm a reviewer, so I'm testing this out. But honestly, for me, it is also a concern, and I think it should be for you guys as well. So I think that is really the major negative of this phone, but that's enough of a negative to almost kind of just discount this phone completely at this point. Would I recommend the Mate 30 Pro to any of you guys to like import it or do anything? I would say at this point, no. It's just not worth the time or the money or the kind of the worry risk-wise to download this kind of this LZ Play app if you can even get it. And I have it on my phone, but as you can see, I can't just uninstall it automatically. This thing is actually needed to be uninstalled from a deeper level because it is running as an administrator on the phone. So take that what you will. At this point, Huawei probably has all my data already. I've reviewed so many China phones, I'm already screwed. But for any of you guys who are freaking out about that, then this is a no-go phone, and that's pretty much the end of the story. But to any of you guys who were interested in this phone, this is probably the best hardware of 2019, and from a battery, performance, design perspective, is probably going to be one of those phones we look back at and say, gosh, remember the phone that everyone wanted to get but just couldn't get it. This is the forbidden fruit phone. This is the phone that no one will ever try and no one will ever realize how amazing a device it truly was. The Mate 30 Pro, just amazing. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching it, and if you liked it, give me that thumbs up, and if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for future updates. So, new format. Thanks for watching, guys. It's getting a little warm in here, so I'm going to go back into the room now, and I'm going to go and edit this stuff up. But if you did like kind of seeing me here on camera, let me know as well. I do appreciate that. And this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech, signing off. Have a good one.